Hi, I'm Heidi Gugisberg-Connors, and I am one of the graduate assistants for communication theory or advanced communication theory this semester at Regent University. I started my doctoral studies at Regent University in the summer of 2013, and I should be done with my coursework in this summer, 2015. But we're not here to talk about me. I want to welcome you to my home so I can tell you about Dr. Ernest G. Borman and his fantasy theme analysis and social convergence theory. I was lucky enough today to talk to one of the students that Dr. Borman mentored. He said that Dr. Borman would definitely be doing away with the idea of groupthink, and that Dr. Borman was lucky that social convergence theory was still around. Or maybe it wasn't luck, maybe it was just that a lot of thought went into it, and it still seems to work for most communication theorists. First of all, let me tell you about Dr. Borman. Dr. Borman is kind of a hometown hero. He went to the University of South Dakota, and then he also attended the University of Iowa. He is a combat veteran from World War II, and he ended up being a professor of communication at the University of Minnesota. At the U of M, he taught courses in public address, group communication, research methods, and communication theory. According to the University of Minnesota website, Dr. Borman wrote these books: Communication Theory, The Force of Fantasy, Speech Communication, Discussion and Group Methods, and then Forerunners of Black Power. He also authored many articles and co-authored several articles and book chapters. On the flip side, though, if you look at Dr. Borman's personal site, Vayne.com, that's VAYNE.com, he would tell you that he also authored these books: Small Group Communication Theory and Practice, Effective Small Group Communication, Speech Communication, A Comprehensive Approach, Speech Communication, An Interpersonal Approach, Interpersonal Communication in the Modern Organization, Effective Committees and Groups in the Church, and The Process of Presentational Speaking. On his website, you will also find another book, but this book is not written by this Dr. Borman. It is written by his father. Just in case you're wondering a little bit about the Wild West, you can certainly check out the other Ernest Borman's book. For this class, though, we are concerned about the fantasy theme analysis. According to the University of Minnesota website, the article in the Quarterly Journal of Speech, Fantasy and Rhetorical Visions, The Rhetorical Criticism of Social Reality, received an award in 1983. The article launched a series of studies and publications that formed a body of scholarship upon which the rhetorical method of fantasy theme analysis and grounded the general communication theory, symbolic convergence theory. Both of these are built upon this one article written by Dr. Borman. So, what does Dr. Borman have to say about fantasy theme analysis? This is the information I used when I used the fantasy theme analysis this fall to analyze some speeches written by and given by the WHO Regional Director for Africa. I talked about the fantasy theme method of criticism introduced by Dr. Borman was to increase the understanding of metaphor of drama so as to better understand and to examine an artifact in terms of settings, characters, and actions. You might also say that the fantasy is imaginative even when presented as nonfiction or the truth. It is imaginative as it builds a life of its own on the particular group in which it's presented. We're not talking about fantasies like here, like Fantasy Island, or this fantasy of a special place that you might go to. Here we're talking about a different type of fantasy. Basically, the fantasy themes that we come up with are the script analysis, is the method used to identify the important fantasies, fantasy types, and rhetorical visions of the organization. These are the stories, the histories, and the anecdotes that people in the organization tell. The material is analyzed based on characters, plots, and settings, and the common themes which appear in the dramas reflect the organization's shared fantasy types and rhetorical visions. So when I analyzed the WHO director's speeches, he gave speeches on Ebola. I had to find out in his only 3 speeches that he gave on Ebola, who were the characters, what was the plot, and what were the settings. Once I found that out, I could determine what fantasy types and rhetorical visions the WHO had for directing the treatment and hopefully ending of the spread of the Ebola virus in Africa. Once he was done building his idea of fantasy theme analysis, Dr. Borman went on to symbolic convergence theory. According to A First Look, which is a fantastic book if you're interested in learning more about communication theories, you dramatize the messages of the group members, expressed interpretations of events other than those in the here and now. Your message content becomes a group fantasy theme when it spontaneously chains out among other members. In other words, if somebody brings up a topic in a group and other people pick up on that topic and keep talking about it and so on and so forth, that's what chaining out means, and that's how that works in the symbolic convergence theory. The sharing of group fantasies then creates the symbolic convergence, which is a group consciousness and often develops a group cohesiveness. Fantasy theme analysis across groups can reveal a rhetorical vision. Dr. Borman's website says something just a little bit different about symbolic convergence theory. The central formula of symbolic convergence theory is a process discovered in the study of small group meetings. You can read more about this on the PowerPoint, which I will give to you. I don't need to read you everything that this thing says. You can also see that the symbolic convergence theory explains the creation of a community consciousness in the past and anticipates them in the future when fantasy sharing occurs. So if we go back to the study that I did this fall, the themes that chained out and the things that will take this group, the WHO, into the future, World Health Organization, are the things that I found. In fact, it kind of seemed like the WHO regional director was trying to help people to rally the troops, to get everyone to fight together to prevent the spread of the Ebola virus. Symbolic convergence theory. One more slide, one more interpretation. If you want to, you can see this final interpretation by Infante, Rancer, and Abgis. Woo! Tough names to say. But they say symbolic convergence deals with general human tendency to interpret and give meaning to signs and symbols. If you want, you can certainly read more about that on the PowerPoint that I am sharing with you. I would be remiss, though, if I did not tell you about the 5 stages of symbolic convergence theory. These stages are emergence or creation, a dramatic event or series of events leads to uncertainty, and the need to develop rhetoric to explain the current state of reality. Stage 2 is consciousness raising. Fantasies begin to occur, and it asserts that when planned events inspire individuals to act according to the key emotions present in their rhetorical vision, their consciousness is raised. Then, consciousness sustaining. At this stage, communication is focused on maintaining the commitment of people who have shared the rhetorical vision. Stage 4, vision declining. Situations in a rhetorical community can change so rapidly that the vision cannot adapt successfully. Finally is the terminus, the end of the rhetorical vision. And this brings us to the terminus of my presentation on Dr. Ernie Borman, fantasy theme analysis, and social convergence theory. If you have any questions, you're certainly welcome to ask. Otherwise, look for this video and the accompanying PowerPoint on our course website. See you later.